It's January the 5th and we're in the Sables alone. This is the first time I'm actually here and the weather is good. It's sunny, it's warm. Usually it's dark, windy. Outside we're gonna have around 3 meter swell now, but then tomorrow 6, around 20 knots of wind. But like, it's winter and it doesn't happen many times that you have such a nice condition. It's 4 of us on our trip and we're about hurrying up now to get across the Biscay as long as the conditions are good. We're gonna untie these ropes, take the fenders. This is the famous marina. This is where the Van de Globe regatta starts. And there are some boats down there from a Golden Globe regatta. Actually 3 of them. I think this one is Matmut, actually the one that won from Jean-Luc Dehaene. See the first one with the orange one? Very famous boat. Leaving the marina, Les Sables alone. Yeah, this is everybody knows this place. It seems like everybody's having a cameras these days. This is some special gimbal.
Looks like that.
We have a whole team of camera guys. And this is the search and rescue boats. We just want to make sure these guys are in here and drinking beer and they don't have to bother with us. I don't think I ever had such a good weather when going out from here, especially not in winter. It just feels like summer, and in this dome here, I feel like vegetable garden, like where you grow salads. You know, you put these screens around so it's warmer. And then, yeah, you go here, you don't know what's gonna be out there. You hear all the scaring stories, which are all true. But these days, with these good weather forecasts, we should be just fine. And then, yeah, this channel is calm. Quite a lot of tide here, around 3 meters or something. And then you get out and then you see what the real conditions are, but it should be pretty nice and calm today. We have a new captain here, doing his duties.
An old captain, 61 years old now.
Oh, really? Yeah. So you're buying the beer?
Yeah.
And we can see the Bay of Biscay already. There's a big fishing boat coming. I don't know how these guys fish here. I mean, this is like the deadliest catch. It's like the Bay of Biscay is probably the worst place you can be for fishing. Here we are, out of the channel. This is the lighthouse, and here, this is the Bay of Biscay. This is really, really calm today. Not much swell. So we were here first time in April and it was like tough, and then we've done it in March. We all said we're not doing it again. Terry also said you're not doing it in March anyway.
No, I want April, but actually January is pretty nice.
No, but you said you're not doing it in March anymore. Remember the 450?
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That was a 450.
It took 2 weeks to get to Gibraltar.
So basically Terry said I'm never gonna do this again in March, and actually we're back and it's January, which should be worse, but we were very lucky with the weather. And here we have our Atlantic crossing crew.
I think we'll try
rejoining for the trip.
Yes.
The flute guy, yeah, he's the guy who plays the flute.
Without flute.
But he didn't, yeah, take a right, yeah?
Yeah, I think we'll take a right.
Yeah, take a right. Without the flute this time.
Yep.
No flute. Remember all those dolphins that came when you played music?
Yeah. I think you should pay more attention because look at where you're going. This is, you're like thinking stuff you shouldn't be, you know, you should drive the boat.
But you keep talking to me. This thing oversteers.
We'll be fine. Luckily the Biscay Bay is very wide, so it's hard to crash into any.
There we go. We're getting back on course now.
Okay, we're back on course. Everything is good. We're really lucky this time. We have this good roof again and all the screens around. And I've seen most of the boats they don't have. You know, what people do is, let's say somebody buys a boat for a charter, and then he doesn't pay this because this setting adds 15,000 euros. It's really expensive, but it's well worth it. So people just don't take it and they put that shitty, you know, kind of canopy, which is just destroys all the boat. It's not functional. So we're really lucky to have this because other guys, they're not, you know, and they have to sit inside whenever you go out, you're wet. So if you're getting one of these boats, take this. And this is really advantage. I mean, Lagoon 46, this area up here, It's really good, comfortable. It's a good shade, and if you close everything, it's very comfortable. So like crossing Biscay when the winds are chilly. And right now in here it's actually very hot. But if you open these doors, you get this cold wind, and it's really gets kind of chilly. Yeah, we have these two fenders here because this thing could theoretically collapse. See, there's a space, but this is not strong enough for my 100 kilo. This one's good. This one's strong, but so we put this that I can go like this with my 100 kilos. Then this is like one of the not best designs on this boat. The idea is good, but it's just too fragile. Too fragile. So here we are. We're gonna go across Bay of Biscay, around, all the way around across through here to Croatia, around more than 2,500 nautical miles. It's like crossing an ocean. Way more difficult. And first we have 350 miles to get across Biscay. And this is like the hardest part, although, not always. Mediterranean can be really hard once you get these strong mistral winds. So yeah, this is definitely very tricky, but the rest can be, just as dangerous. So what I like around here is these submarines. I don't know why these submarines are around here. There's loads of submarines. Maybe it's like a game, so you can, kind of sing them. And then you can see all the wrecks. You see all these signs? This is all wreck. Because in Bay of Biscay, there's so many wrecks. That's why it's so famous, because it's really, really tricky with the weather. Very quickly you go really, we're talking like 60 knots of wind, we're talking 12, 15 meter breaking waves from 0 to hero. It's North Atlantic. It's like the worst place that you can actually be. But these days with good weather forecast, it's actually doable. You can see here all the wrecks. Wrecks everywhere. So one of the reasons why Bay of Biscay is so tricky, because you see it's North Atlantic. You see, it's just across here. You see, it's Canada, Nova Scotia. So you get all these depressions going across, and they get much more south during the winter. And there's cyclone after cyclone. They just keep coming, and they all blow in here, and the sea develops. So whatever the storm is here, you're gonna get a big swell here. So you get loads of wind, usually from these directions, pushing you in. So in the old days, they didn't have weather forecast. They would go out, the wind would start pushing them in. They couldn't sail upwind really well with old boats, so they would slowly get pushed in, maybe run out of fuel, or maybe the engine would break, and then they would just go. And another thing is, you see, it's here, you have 4,000 meters depth, and right here you have 100 meters depth. So this happens in around 10, 15, 20 miles. So suddenly it goes like shh. So the huge waves come and they hit this shelf, and then they start breaking. And then the closer you get to shore, then the depth just goes down. So these waves just pick up, develop, and they start breaking. So that's why all the boats are here. They were pushed in here, eventually just rolled, broke, or put ashore. See, all this is just wrecks everywhere. See, there's not many wrecks here, because when you have a bad wind, it's gonna push you here on this side. And this is very low coast, see, 24 meters. This coast is much deeper. You see, it's like 100 meters, very close to shore. But this French coast, here it's like very low, and you don't want to be here. And that's why we don't want to sail like this. But you always want to cross here, or maybe you want to cross here, to like a couple places here, Gion or something. And then La Coruña is a famous spot, but we still want to push it at least to Vigo, because Vigo, it's here. I like it much more to do the engine service. Vigo, and if lucky we get down to Lisbon, to Cascais, that would be perfect to do an engine service, but we'll see. So today we are quite calm. Tomorrow afternoon we get 20 knots like this. And the swell is gonna pick up, because up here there's a huge depression, and we're gonna get around 6 to 7 meters swell. So it's going to be very interesting. But then once we turn down, it's going to get better and better. So our cook bought these bananas, and when you're trying to open this, it doesn't want to open because it's... Have you seen a banana like this?
That story's going to have to go in our book, Igor.
Yeah. So I complained about the bananas, and he said, Igor, just wait. Well, I can wait for 2 months until we'll be in Africa already. I can get a new banana. Like, this is But yeah, let's see
Well,
what.
let's have the cook.
Yeah, you need this microphone because that's how he.
Okay, it's your
No,
turn.
I told him to wait at least 2 hours. Maybe it will get more.
2 hours.
It will get more yellow. No, wait for a few days and eat oranges.
What do I do with this banana now?
Wait a bit.
What do we now do? Wait like this
Wait.
Hold it for 2 days.
Hold it.
on the sun?
Yeah, it will be faster.
So he's our cook, and he's our cook because on the last trip we did together, he complained that two of us are the worst cooks.
Worst cooks.
So we said we're just fine with that. So you're gonna cook now,
Yeah.
and now we have these bananas. So
That's a payback, huh?
Would be my pleasure to cook.
yeah, he's giving us back
Yeah.
now.
That's the reward.
Really lucky. There's not much swell. This is like, I mean, the best conditions I ever had in the Biscay Bay. And tomorrow's gonna be like this, but then we're gonna get a huge swell, 20 knots of wind. A beautiful sunrise. It's cold. I mean, tonight, actually in the morning, I wanted to walk around the boat, but it was ice. It was slippery. It's froze. But I don't think out here in the ocean it's gonna freeze because it's the effect from the water. The water has around 10 degrees Celsius, so just, you know. So what is the comment for the day?
Couldn't be better.
Could be better?
Couldn't.
Couldn't be better.
No.
Green bananas.
Yeah.
Green bananas?
What do you use that for, like dusting and stuff?
No, this is just, I like this. It's kind of, I like the feeling of this. You wanna touch?
Kind of like your
You like it?
or something.
It's like a cat.
Wow, it's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You sleep with it.
Yeah, I sleep with it. We're now approaching this depth change. We have 170 meters now, and then in 1 hour, actually in 6 miles, or it's gonna drop to 1,200. So from 180 to 1,200. So this is where the waves change, and this is also the dangerous place in case of heavy weather. But we're lucky tonight because it's very calm. We're just under engine. We had a little bit of Genoa earlier because the apparent wind was from the side, but now we have apparent wind from the front, so we furled it. So we're just using engines, and we've made quite a nice distance. So from La Rochelle we've done around 90 miles now, which is not much because we have a long way, but doing pretty good. We're going a little bit higher, so we're not going direct, the shortcut, but a little bit up because we expect these winds tomorrow. So we're just getting a little bit of reserve, so it's going to be easier to come down. And we're also expecting this big swell to come like this, so up to 6.5 meters, the forecast is. So the higher up we go, the easier it's gonna be to go down, either because of the waves and the wind, but then it's a longer way. So now we're doing something just in between, so we should be around here when we get the waves and the winds, and then we'll go down. So basically it's a very small difference in the distance, but we'll get much better comfort, better sailing, and better safety. Otherwise, yeah, very happy with the boat so far. I mean, I know the 46 already from last year. I've done one delivery, so I have very high expectations to see if the Lagoon made it better. See all the mistakes that we found last year, if it improved. And I just love these Yanmar engines. You know, if you can choose between Yanmar and other brands, I would always take a Yanmar. I just trust Yanmar so far. But there's one thing, maybe you can hear a very high-pitched voice. I'm not sure if the microphone is picking up, so I'll just be quiet now and just listen for you have an engine, but then a very high-pitched voice. Can you hear it like... So I think this is, and I hope it's true, it's called singing propeller. So it happened to me a couple years ago. I had this, it's just on one side right now on the port engine, which is on the left side of the boat, and you get this very high pitch voice. And yeah, we had this a couple years ago. We were not sure what's going on, so we stopped the engine, of course, thinking there's a problem, and then we used just a single engine to get to Gion. We called the mechanic. He checked. He said like, well, he thinks it's all good with the engine. So it has to be something with either sail drive, which he said he couldn't really check if the boat is in the water. We decided to go, and I checked a lot, and apparently I think it was a singing propeller. So when the boat is new and the propeller is brand new, they say that on the edges of the propeller you can get this sound. So once the propeller gets used and the edges are not so sharp anymore, and you get some foul on the propeller, then this sound just disappears. So the guys in La Coruña said, yeah, we can fix it. We'll fix it for you. Yeah, don't worry. We'll just, we'll put the boat out so we can. So why do you have to put out the boat to remove the propeller? Because in Croatia, we just dive, we put the propeller down, we put it back, and it's always good. It's something in the charter business you do like weekly. So there's no need to put boat out. Even without the diver, like with the tanks, you can easily remove the propeller. I mean, easily, if you're like, can hold your breath a little bit. We've done it before and there's no problems. So the guy said, yeah, we'll put the boat out so we can remove the propeller, and then we're gonna sand the, propeller edges a little bit, and it's gonna stop. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you want, I don't know how much money to do that? So of course we didn't decide, because it's just, a high-pitched voice which shouldn't damage anything. And we continued, and then eventually it went down. So I really hope this is the thing now. And the mechanic in Gion, that was the first mechanic before the Coruña, he said that the engine is okay, because you can test the engine without the gear. I don't know, you can just hear how it's working. Then once in a gear, he couldn't really hear in a marina this singing, because the propeller didn't, it didn't move through the water, so it was different. So then he said that if it was a sail drive, there would be probably some small particles of metal in the sail drive. So what he did is, with a dipstick for the sail drive oil, he just, actually we were running the engine, put in a gear, and then he was opened that, dipstick for the oil of the sail drive, and then just checking for the metal parts, because he said if there's something, from there, you're gonna find the metal parts in that oil. That would be a sign that there's some high wear and tear, which could theoretically, cause, this high-pitched voice. And there was none, so he just said, I believe it's all good, and probably the propeller. But yeah, you get a brand new boat, you expect everything should work fine, and have this high-pitched voice. It's for the first time you get it, you're just not sure. You just don't want to break anything, so that's... We have our safety whistle here, just in case, we want to call somebody. It's always here. And we have this light. This is probably, I'm the only one who's doing this. So this is the floating light, and you can just turn it on. It has to be turned on and off manually, but it's like a flashing one. And so we keep it here in case somebody falls in the water. You just turn it on, throw it in the water. So you don't have to think. You see somebody's in the water, just throw it in. It's gonna float, it's gonna mark the position. Because by the time you get down and you take that horseshoe out, which is usually tangled, and who knows, is it like in order or not, and you throw it in the water to mark the position, or a dam buoy, it's probably gonna take a little bit longer. So this is like, the first measure you do, just throw it in. It's gonna be in the water in 1 second, and it's quite a good idea to have it up here. And I just love this Flybridge. So the Lagoon 46, what I really like the inner saloon. I still love it. I think it's just like, it's cozy, it works, I just love the inner saloon. And also the cabins, they're really big, comfortable, like you can, the boat is kind of, even for me, which I'm like big and heavy, I can easily move around the boat, I'm not struggling, not hitting anything, so very comfortable boat. And I love this Flybridge. I always loved Flybridges, but especially this one is really good. You have this very good roof. which you really should, take, as we've said. And these screens, right now we don't really feel the wind. Without this, we would be really struggling. Probably we wouldn't be sitting up here. We would be, taking watch from inside, which is very dangerous because you don't see well. And you have all the controls up here for the engine. So in case you see a net, by the time you're going to come up, you're going to, you really should be here all the time, even without the screens. But, even now there's not much wind. You would get really, really cold because it's going to drop at night between 5 and 10 degrees. The wind is from the north, so you really need good clothes, and still, you would be very cold. And then seats here, you see this sitting position. I'll show more tomorrow where it's bright. It's really comfortable, just sitting here. It's like how it should be, it's very comfortable. If you compare it to the design of the, let's say, Lagoon 42, which has, that sport top, or even like an old Lagoon 450 or Lagoon 52, all the sport tops. It's kind of cool because it's easier to access the main, so there is advantages. But let's just say regarding comfort, this is so much better here because you sit like at home in front of the TV in sofa. The sport top versions, you're kind of, you cannot really fall asleep on the watch. It's just not so comfortable enough. It's much easier to sleep on the watch here, which of course we don't do, but it's a big difference. So I just love Flybridge, and you have a really good view, so it's also good for the safety, and it's just more fun. So one disadvantage or advantage is that you don't know what's happening down there, so you don't have a full control of the people. I mean, if somebody fell in the water. But on the other hand, you can be up here and you're moved away, so you don't hear all the noise and the party that's going down. So I think, and another thing is when you go down, you're exposed a little bit more because you have to go a little bit more to the edge and down. If you have a sport top, you can go directly down to the saloon. So there's some disadvantages, but overall, I just love the Flybridge. It's really cool. I am wearing this life jacket. I just bought it in Decathlon. It cost 55 euros, which is very little for the life jacket. And so far, I really, really like it. If you compare it to the other brands and their cheap models, I just prefer this one. It just works for the money. I just hope it's gonna inflate. I mean, of course it's gonna inflate. It doesn't mean if it's cheap, it's not gonna inflate. But yeah, really comfortable, really good design. So yeah. Second day crossing the Biscay. It's actually, it's January, it feels like summer. And we just got some very nice winds and we are full sails. We turned the engines off. And it definitely doesn't feel like Biscay Bay in winter in January. It just feels really nice. We were using engines until now, so we've done around 20 hours on the engines. And we have this tactic, so you need the first engine service after 50 hours, which usually, if there's no wind, you can get to a Coruña. But there's a little bit more expensive engine service, and I really like Cascais next to Lisbon. So luckily we can now save these engine hours because, if you use all the 50, you need an engine service, so you have to stop, sometimes in Vigo. But it seems like we're going to be able to get to Cascais. Let's hope so. And the weather forecast is very accurate, so we're getting these side winds. Eventually, afternoon, we're going to get some nose winds and then a big shift to like northeast, around over 20 knots. And we're going to fly down towards Finisterre. And also the weather forecast is a very big swell. So, it doesn't look like it now. This is like summer sailing, but actually you can see the swell is slowly building up from northeast, and it should go up to 6.5 meters. And we should get it during the night, because down there's a huge cyclone. Just doesn't feel like we're gonna get that huge swell, and maybe we get lucky. Right now we're having 13 to 14 knots of true wind speed. You can see the angles. Apparent wind is a little bit from the up. And we're doing pretty good. You see, right now we're doing 7 knots speed over ground constantly. and apparent wind speed is 15 knots of wind. So in 15, it's a like perfect angle, that's true. So yeah, pretty happy with the boat speed so far. The thing I don't really like is, you see these lines? They're all the same color. I mean, okay, no, these two are exactly the same. This one's a little bit different. And then this, so these are the reefs. So they're all the same color. So why would you do that? I really don't know. And these two, which is halyard and main sheet, I mean, they're all the same. So I don't know how you know which one to pull. You just have to remember 1, 2, 3, 4. This is so stupid. And well, as I'm complaining, let's complain a little bit more. I said this screen is really good, but you know, when you have this screen closed, you see this winch is then in a way and you cannot really work, so you have to open this each time. It's a shame it's like this, but anyway, I always would prefer to have a screen even if it's like this. In summer we're not gonna have problem because you can put it off and just keep the forward ones, which is nice to have even in summer when you have spray. But yeah, unfortunately, and you cannot really use the handle. Okay, it's electric winch, but yeah, these winches should be, you see, moved like here. One winch here, another one here, and then they would eliminate this problem, but it's not a deal breaker. And then when you get a new boat, you're always concerned, you know, there's gonna be trouble, the things are not right. Well, actually, you know, with Lagoon getting out from the Sables, this is my banana here. It's still in the same shape like yesterday. So sometimes, you know, people get boats with a lot of, you see, malfunctions, things to be repaired. Actually, we're pretty lucky here in the Sables d'Olonne, and the boats are assembled by SAS, that's Sailing Atlantic Services. And they always do a really good job. And this time it's, I think, quite exceptional. There was only one problem with this panel. It was a little bit out, didn't fit well. They fixed it, but otherwise everything was okay. Generally, you know, from previous, I've sailed this boat before, from here, from France to Croatia. And what I'm looking forward is if the things that were bothering me are better now. Definitely the boat is assembled much better now, after 1 year. So there's like less small things that were bothering me and it had to be repaired when we get the boat. Things I'm mostly gonna be looking at is squeaking from, so this guy last year was really doing strange noise like, all the time. It's been quiet for now, but maybe I can hear this one this year a little bit, but we'll see better when the boat gets to the bigger swell and it starts flexing more. So we have a bread. This is the pasta we made yesterday, so you can just take and eat. It's always ready, something to eat. And then, yeah, we have loads of food. I don't even know what we have because I was not buying. So we have cookies, crackers, we have peanuts, and there's chips, bread, toast, bananas, apples, and then like whole bunch of stuff. I have no clue what we have. So that's the thing, you don't know what's under. Probably the good stuff is under. We have more healthy stuff. And there's another fridge. Let's see. Okay, this is full of good stuff again. So I don't think we're gonna be hungry. And let's see. Oh, there's more cans and tunas and fish and is there anything in here? Oh, we have more pasta and sauce. And underneath here, just the bags. So it seems like we're pretty well stocked, and maybe something is out here also. Okay, let's see. This is just the hose. And this is more fruit and lemons. This one is many times used as an external fridge, and I don't really like having this external fridge because the model they put, it always breaks. The handles break. So we didn't took that one. We just have inside. And overall, I think that just, you know, removing this, I've said in the previous reviews, I don't like this. I would prefer to have much bigger, you see, cushions and a sitting area than having this. I mean, it's maybe useful, but you know, there's another sink in there, you can get drinks, so why have this here where you could have much more comfortable sitting area? But that's, you know, just my opinion. And again, I know last year my complaints were about the sitting area. I would prefer to have more, backrests. So, you can sit here, but so you have no backrest. So basically, when people are eating lunch, I mean, we will put 2 more chairs here, just foldable chairs. But basically, only 2 people can sit with a backrest, and these people here can't. So, yeah, this is, I think, the worst, my opinion, the worst drawback of this boat is. But I think it might be just my opinion. And I think that you can rebuild this if it's your boat. It's easy to rebuild, put a different table, put this backwards, have backrests, and so I think it's fixable. But still, I love the inner saloon. I think it's amazing, feels really well. And then the Flybridge is really good. I love the cabins, they're big, spacious. So overall, this boat is, I kind of like it. Of course, there's things which I would like to be improved, but this is not a racing boat. So maybe I'm expecting to have a racing boat and, being able to push it and sail really fast and upwind and downwind. No, this is a charter cruising boat, live aboard. The boat that's capable to go around the world. It's capable of winter crossing in heavy seas. So it's I would say, a quality product. If you're gonna charter this boat, you're gonna like it. And if you're gonna buy it as a live aboard, like a house on the water, you're gonna be very happy. It's very spacious. It feels nice. I like this boat, just like, it's nice.
Not good at it, but once it gets you, you can then move and it will still point at you.
Everybody's carrying cameras. Yeah, I like this gimbal. So you put your phone. Oh, that's me.
It's actually
See, it's me. It's
a
like
picture in a picture.
That's funny. That's me. Yeah, I love cameras. Oh, the wind just died. No. We need the wind. We have to sail. This comes and goes. We're now kind of in the middle of the Biscay Bay. So we're doing a really good progress, and the wind now picked up to around 13-14 knots. And we're doing 7.7 speed over ground, which is pretty good, and it's actually a little bit upwind. And the waves it's pretty good. They're not stopping us a lot. So yeah, this boat, if you go in the angles from the side, it's a pretty decent sailor. With these cruising catamarans, they're not the best to go downwind if you don't have a code 0 or any downwind sails. And upwind, they have a lot of side drift, a lot of leeway, how's it called? But when you have all these angles from the side, they do a pretty good job. And reaching 8 knots with this boat and sailing very comfortably is just something that's very normal. So I do like sailing this boat in this angle. It's actually good enough to be fun. It's actually more. It's actually fun. Especially with all these screens around, you're really safe here, not in the wind. You have a beautiful view. So yeah, thumbs up for this Flybridge, and thumbs up for this boat when it's sailing on these angles. It's really fun. And if you add a code 0, then you can also sail it in the winds down to 10 knots, 9 knots, and you're still gonna have fun. Unfortunately, most of the charter boats don't have a code 0, especially not in Croatia. So there's a lot of engine running, but yeah, if you own the boat, get the code 0. It's like, I would say, essential, basic equipment for Lagoon catamarans. Now we're having around 13 knots of true in speed, doing around 7 knots of speed over ground. Actually, we're reaching really decent speeds. The sea state is quite okay, still not stopping us. Last year I delivered also the 46 Lagoon, but it was already equipped with everything. So this boat has no teak, no generator, no air conditioning. We brought some spoons and plates and pots with us. So it's really, really the lightest it can be. But last year the boat was fully equipped with everything. So I reckon that last year we were heavier, around between 600 and 700 kilos heavier. And I can notice the difference in speed. What I want to say is that all these multi-hulls are very weight sensible. So if you want to be fast, the boat has to be the lightest as possible. And once you bring a ton of food and beer and put all the generators, water makers, and everything that exists, and microwaves and ovens and this and that, and then you expect this boat to perform, it can't. It's like having a Ferrari, and then you put, I don't know how much luggage in it on the roof and put a big caravan trailer, and then expect it to perform. It won't. So as I've said also last year on the delivery, I was pretty happy with the performance of this boat. I would say it sails better than the 42. It's very close or almost like the 450, which is one of my favorite lagoons. And right now, yeah, we're just doing almost 8 knots. The wind picked up to 15, and it's fun. I can tell you right now, it's good enough to be fun, actually better than good to be fun. So yeah, just keep these boats light, and then they sail. And if we had a code zero, I talk about a code zero all the time. Yeah, these boats can sail. So, you know, we just hit 8 knots in 30 knots of wind. We're kind of surfing down the swell, but going against the swell, but still surfing. See, we hit 8 knots in 30 knots, 40 knots of wind speed. It goes down to 6, and then it goes up. And we're actually surfing upwind. And the angle, you see, we're actually going, kind of upwind. 50 knots of true wind speed. And the boat speed through the water is actually 8.6 because we have a lot of current against us. So I think this is good. You know, going upwind, 8.6 in these winds, it's really good. So when you're looking at the speed over ground, this is actually our actual speed. So we have around 1 knot of current against us, so that's why we are speed over ground is slower than the speed for water. But whatever I'm seeing right now, this is pretty decent speeds for the cruising catamaran. Very nice shape of this sail. It's brand new. Well, that adds up with the speed, but anyway. And we put this rope on the roof. This is just our mooring line. So we put it up here because when you have to climb from behind, there's no place to hold and it gets very dangerous to be up here. So we add this, which helps when climbing. See, the ladder is just right here, and when you climb, you have to hold for something and there's nothing. And I think this roof should be flat. And these edges shouldn't be as smooth and like this. It should be like more square. It would be much better for the safety. But well, if you add this and if you're careful, it's okay. It's not a deal breaker. It's a very good roof for the sun because it's thick fiberglass. It really makes a really good shade. And these screens are, I mean, I love this Flybridge. This is really like thumbs up. Good job, Lagoon. I never thought we were gonna be so lucky in January. We actually came to Les Sables Tuesday afternoon, and then Wednesday at 3 o'clock afternoon. So actually in 30 hours we sailed away. Checked the boat, got everything ready, bought the food, a lot of stuff to do in just under 30 hours, and we just sailed away because it was these great conditions we have.
Filming eggs.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
We're only allowed to make eggs on this trip.
We're in the middle of Biscay and it's time for some eggs. These eggs are jumping around. They're dancing. Why are they dancing, Terry? Why are these eggs dancing?
Happy eggs.
They're happy egg. They're from the... This is an egg soup.
Egg soup.
It's not scrambled
It's
eggs.
called egg drop soup.
So I get this because I was complaining, huh, Terry?
Oh, that's your share.
I'd like to have more. I won't complain, I promise. I'll never complain again.
Here, one more.
You're a really good cook, Terry. Terry, you're the best cook.
One more.
Well, just is it enough for others?
We call that brown nosing.
Oh, Terry, you're a really good sailor also, not just a cook.
You know what brown nosing is, don't you?
I guess what I'm doing. Bon appétit. Тут neki pihnut lele. That sucks. A big gust when we shouldn't have it. 35 knots. Hopefully it goes away. We have, so the rope of furler broke. So right now we can only furl the Genoa if we go forward and just pull it by hand. And we were not expecting these big gusts. So now we're just going more off-wind and hope these gusts will stop so then we can continue on. And it's not fun to sail when you cannot easily reef the Genoa. But we'll be fine. How do you like sailing, Terry?
Well, it was kind of a rough night last night. A lot of bouncing, huh?
Didn't sleep much?
Didn't sleep at all. Did you?
Well, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was good. So we're almost across now. Bay of Biscay. It's always hard to cross, so half more day we turn Finisterre and then it's gonna get much easier. A couple of huge waves, like a wall. Probably not easy to see on the camera. They're pretty big. You feel Olympic? Very Olympic. You're moving a lot on the camera, left and right. Like that. The winds are slowly dropping now, as the weather forecast said, so we have to go around Coruña and then we go down towards Portugal. So this is kind of a problem. We have this broken rope for the furler, but I think we'll figure out something. It actually looks like a perfect sunny day, but the night was really tough. We were jumping up and down. We had winds up to 45 knots. I didn't have no energy, no willpower to do any filming, even in the morning when it was very rough. And again, on the camera you don't see this wave, but this night was like, you don't want to do nights like this. It's just, but when you go winter Biscay, you're gonna get something, at least a couple of nights like this anyway. It's winter time. So nobody of us slept much. I was sleeping up here, like a little bit by little bit. And I don't think many people slept down in the halls either because it's very noisy. But the good thing is we have a sun, it's getting really warm. The winds are gonna drop, the sea is gonna slowly, calm down. And then after Finisterre, when we turn more south, it's gonna get comfortable and we're gonna get back in shape slowly. So sailing across Biscay in winter, it's fun if you take it as a challenge or accomplishment. If you take it as a happy summer sailing, I don't think you're gonna like it. So set your expectations accordingly and don't do this in winter. If you want to see this area, just come here in summer. In summer, everything's okay. But in winter, you don't want to be here. I'm reading a book across the Bay of Biscay. Is this a survival manual or it's
Oh, it's a book. My ass is so...
this is your last prayers? That's a religious book, you're praying?
Actually not, I'm just staying because I'm sitting all the time.
Cooking, we have a freshly caught salmon from the Atlantic. Cooking some delicacy. Outside we have a Bay of Biscay, a big swell. So thumbs up for our cook. Our chef here. So, and couscous, and where's the fish? Oh, the fish is here. If you ask me, whoever can make more than open the chips, like what it's a maximum for me right now, whoever can cook anything, better, it's really like thumbs up. And this guy is doing fish and couscous, and so really good job. In the middle of Biscay,
Yep.
we're gonna have this great lunch. We have turned Finisterre, and we just got these great winds, and we're flying towards Cascais. What a beautiful day. We have full sails, and there's still a lot of swell. I would say around 5 meters swell probably. So we have now crossed the Bay of Biscay, and we turned during the night the Finisterre, the famous cape. And now we're flying down towards Cascais, which is here. Lisbon is here. We should be there in a day and a half with these good winds, and then we're gonna slowly turn towards Gibraltar and to the Mediterranean. And right now we're doing really good progress because we have 20 knots of wind from the side. And this is where the catamarans really like to be. And you can see we're surfing down the waves and averaging over 8 knots. So we just reached 10 knots of speed over ground. So I don't think anybody complained about this would be slow. Surfing again, see we just reached 12 knots now. And it's 19 knots of true wind speed, 22 apparent. And the boat feels very comfortable. I hear a lot of people complaining about the performance, and also I would like to have more performance on this boat, but once you have 20 knots from the side and you put full sails up, well, the boat is fast, It's also very comfortable. So what I'm missing is when you're sailing in Croatia, that's what usually you don't have. You don't have 20 knots from the side. So for Croatia, you should have much more sails. This boat should have more sails, or at least you should add a code 0, which most of the charter boats don't have. But this is just the proof that this boat, the shape of the hull is good, It can reach very decent speeds. And right now we're feeling very comfortable, very safe, just flying. So thumbs up for this scenario with this catamaran. It's really good. Loads of dolphins coming, playing with our boat. And these are like kind of much smaller than in the Mediterranean. And they like to jump, they like to play. And they just jump through the waves, from the waves. And as I've always said, dolphins, they bring happiness and good luck. So very nice to see them again. Now the winds have dropped a little bit here. We have the history. So you can see the angle is kind of, increasing. But the wind speed kind of dropped in the last hour. But we're still reaching very decent speed. To see we're doing now 8. It falls down when we stop surfing the wave. Now it's 7.7. See, and then we surf down. We're gonna reach 9.7 this time. And we have only 18 knots of true wind speed, and we're under full sail. It just feels like it's gliding. It's not struggling. It's just, it's very happy boat right now. But it's a perfect angle. It's actually upwind a little bit, so the wind is from 100. Apparent wind is around 70, which is actually like the angle these boats really, really enjoy. And not struggling at all. Let's see how it looks in the back. Now looking backwards, you can see we're really fast, like a power boat. We still have quite a lot of the swell, I would say around 4 meters. It's very hard to see it on the camera. But it's slowly getting better, and our mood is getting better. We're getting the energy back. Oh, that's a big swell again. And just flying, look at this. Woo! So this big swell we had, I think the maximum we had, probably couldn't see on the camera, but the biggest one was 7 meters. That was around 20 seconds amplitude. It does exhaust you. A huge sea we had. It was kind of comfortable and safe because it was not breaking at all in the Biscay Bay. But definitely not fun. It's definitely not something you want to do. It's just not fun. And now it's approaching Portugal. I can feel that we're getting the energy back. The swell is going down. So probably tomorrow we're all gonna be eating a lot and talking much more, laughing much more. But I know on the camera it doesn't look. But you know what? It's here. Wait for the winter, go to the Biscay, sail, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. It's hard to explain. Many people don't believe when they see on the camera it seems so flat. But it's rough. It's not so much fun. You have to take it as a challenge. Then you're happy, especially when you get home, you're happy you've done it. But it's not much fun or comfort when you're actually doing it. Lagoon 46, as I've said in my previous review last year, it's just gliding. It feels like it's a pretty decent sailor for a cruising catamaran. It's reaching decent speeds, especially with these angles. And really looking forward the Code Zero we're going to put on this boat to see how it performs in Croatia. But another thing is we are very light right now. We don't, as I've said, we don't have any generator, no teak, nothing. It does help, but still it's going to be a very good boat for summer sailing, very comfortable one. So thumbs up for this kind of angles, winds and sailing for this boat. So far we have 2 damages on the boat. One is, I've said, we have this furler, line broke. And I'll just have to, so we were on the second reef on the Genoa, no furled. And I have to blame the Z-spars. This is not the Lagoon, but I think it's Z-spars, the one that do the mast and the rigging. And we had problem with this rope last year. I wasn't sure what's going on, but now I'm definitely sure that this rope is not appropriate for any high forces. And And then another damage we have on the sail again on the first reef. There's like a loop, kind of the eye, where the reefs go through. Well, it just is broken. So we've lost the first reef. We're gonna fix that, but it just seems like it was just a clumsy worker who didn't attach it correctly. I hope it's that. So it's gonna be pretty easy to fix it. But otherwise, with the boat itself, speaking about Lagoon, so far very happy with this boat. Not any big complaints. There would be small minor things we'll go over later, but so far it's very good. We have a new cook making looks like chicken and pasta, and looks delicious. Add some pesto. We still have this big swell, so again I say whoever can cook in these conditions is a genius.
I'm reading a book called
Think Again.
Again.
Oh, you're thinking this? Oh, that's a book. After you cross the Biscay, it's like think again.
Did I
Why
do
did
the
you-
right thing?
Yeah, why did you do it? How was the Biscay crossing? You think it was good?
Yeah, it was actually not bad. The second night was rough waves, but the wind was good. Right?
So the last time you did in March, you said I'm never gonna do it again in March. Now you're here in January, so
Yeah, you know, January, probably one of our best trips, I think, across. So, you just never know. Mother
hi.
Nature controls it.
say hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vic.
Maestro finished.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a green this thing for the green pasta. Oh, okay,
That's good.
Yeah.
it's good. Looks good. It looks green.
Chicken?
It looks like me in Biscay. It's green. But let's see what the chef is gonna say. Are you happy with your?
What do you think?
It's not bad.
It's like your shirt, the same color.
It's my favorite.
Today we're gonna have a big breakfast. There is making sausages, eggs, and there's chicken soup today.
Yeah.
We're in. And I just had my first swim of the season. Here's my neoprene fins and my first catch of this winter. Fishing rope. I'm not a big fan of statistics, but statistic is always right. And every 1,000 nautical miles, I swim because I catch something on the propeller. It's the first time actually I have to swim in the winter North Atlantic, but it was actually quite refreshing because I didn't have a shower for the last 4 days. So it was actually, it feels really cool now. And the water, it's not too cold, it's okay. And everything is good with the propeller, that's the most important. Luckily we didn't run the propeller, so we caught this during the night because the propellers are still free spinning. And it just caught, probably just the leftover of some fishing rope. And if we start the propeller, we might get trouble, but like this, it wasn't much forces. All good, we'll keep going. I can see some good skills here with a knife. Chopping onions very precisely. Well, otherwise the winds have dropped, so now we're kind of motor sailing with the Genoa. We put the main down. We're using just a single engine because we have to save the engine hours before the engine service. And we're pretty good. We're actually almost near Cascais, and one engine has around 35 hours and the other one has 40, which is a big success, which means we sailed a lot, really good. And this is where we are. So Cascais is right here, near Lisbon. So we're 70 miles from Lisbon. And if you zoom out, we're slowly getting towards Mediterranean. So we started from here, done this tricky Biscay, came around, and now the life should get better, hopefully. So far we've done 600 nautical miles with average speed of 6.7, and then in the last 24 hours our average was 7.1. It was only sailing, and today in the last 10 hours it was 6.5 because the winds dropped. That's good. We've done 600 miles of the most tricky part.
Probably wait on the tomatoes.
So Terry,
Yeah.
how's it looking?
Looking good so far.
How many points do you give to the cook for the breakfast?
Oh,
It definitely looks really good. Really nice omelette. Well done. Now you can see the swell, because that boat comes and goes, just disappears in the waves. And now it has actually calmed down. We had double the height or even more waves, but you can't see it on camera. But you can see now when the big sailing, when the big fishing boat disappears,